Regular session.
I will. Oh, it is not only
Hey, I'm better. There was a few days I thought I'd have to go there. That blows no. And I had a bunch of sugar. And I'm still great. No, I got the flu shot back in September. But I guess I got the wrong version. I guess I was A or B. Well, I'm not gonna do what you have to do. What you do. It's the first time I've ever had it. It was worse than COVID. Sam and I both, he still pretty bad. I don't think this one. He was going to the doctor Thursday and get it drained.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Lord, thank you for this day you've given us. Be with us today at this meeting. Just give us the knowledge and wisdom we need to make the right decisions. Be with us throughout this week. Lead, guide, and direct us. Forgive me my sins. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, everybody needs to come back every meeting just to do that. That is incredible. Okay.
That's what you said last time.
I know, because we had crowd. It sounds good. Okay, at this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action will be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Ms. Summers?
No,
Non-agenda item?
the note just made refers to the Open Meetings Act, and it gives me the right to speak now. It also gives me the right to speak on agenda items, to ask questions about agenda items, and to warrant the questions to be answered. Today, we'll see if those rights are given to me and to the other people. we shall see if the court tries to limit those rights, as it has often done in the past. Thank you.
Can you hand me one of those packets there? As a reminder, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. All right, court to discuss and consider action to be taken on the following: approval of previous court minutes. We don't have any, it's on the wrong agenda. I put that there accidentally. And precinct project schedule and staffing. Chuck, I don't.
Patching.
Repair.
Update on trails. The trail builder is here, one of them. The other one will be here next week. They're building the mountain bike trails. We'll work on that for a while. You have bladed the perimeter and ready for water when we get the water rolling.
I will check on that today.
Got the second phase of that grant applied for yesterday. So, that's kind of where I'm at. I also got with the schools for the new entrance. They are working on getting that built. I talked to a bricklayer to do the pillars for it. He's gonna meet me today and discuss that. So that is well on its way. Anything else?
So you lined up the shaker for the millings.
Talked to him and called him back. I called him back yesterday and I didn't get a hold of him, but he's supposed to be coming after he finishes it with that.
Because when that gets done, you need to water like we did the golf course.
Yeah.
To make them way good.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'll check on the water truck.
Anything else? Okay, next item is accept bids for boiler at jail. They didn't put the bid on these, they're open by Brandy. I have not looked at those. What you got?
$58,400. That's from Howard Mechanical.
$159,007.78 from Bailey Roller Works, Florida, Texas.
Any new boilers?
Yeah, what was Howard's? Yeah. The Howard was 68, what did I say, 68,400?
68,400.
68,400.
Boiler and installation materials, boilers are 63,480, which is included 3 to 4 week delivery. Labor is $60,362.68. Rental fees and freight estimate, $83.60.
This includes all equipment.
This has a breakdown of the supplies.
Okay.
I'm not gonna read all of it. That's a lot of difference.
So what is your pleasure?
Who do you use in the past?
Howard they had the original specs, they did the original install, so that's my preference.
They're less than half.
Yeah, I think the motion we use Howard for the board.
All in favor? Thank you all. We will do Howard. All right, Scurry Cat Board nomination, discuss and consider nomination of Jimmy McMillan for Scurry Cat Board. I don't know if you all know Jimmy, but for a while, good guy. Family been here forever. He was on the appraisal review board for 20 years. He said he's not doing that again. But
So everybody's there.
yeah, he would like to be considered.
Jimmy would be good, and he was on the cloud seeding, he was part of it.
Yep.
So I make a motion, Jimmy McMillan be named to the Scurry County Cab Board.
All in favor? Okay. I'm gonna
Excuse
go,
me, I'm having a hard time hearing. Can y'all speak up a little bit, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
we'll move on to the carry services agreement, and then we'll come back to number 10 after that. This one, we've discussed that a while back, annex partial proposal, annex full proposal, courthouse full proposal, and courthouse partial proposals. We did put money in Todd's budget this year for that type of thing, didn't we, Todd? Something like 45,000?
Yes.
Okay. The partial proposal for courthouse annex, I'm sorry, this is the partial proposal was 5,780 a year. The courthouse annex full proposal is 12,860 a year. The partial proposal for the courthouse is 5,780. The full proposal is 19,820 a year. And if you remember, these are for well, they're not boiler systems, are they? They're a different type of system that we have here and at the annex than regular.
Or chiller, same thing.
There's a boiler and a chiller at the
At the
annex. And
Okay.
here we just have the inline water heaters that serve as boilers.
And getting somebody to work on those in a timely manner can be difficult.
So,
So is that something you want to look at? You can see further down in that annual inspections that they do. This is partial operational inspections. And you do these quarterly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Annual inspection on boilers, operational inspections. Unit heaters, gas fired, chilled water pumps. They do all these inspections on those quarterly.
let's see here that one of them says plus tax, they don't have to have a tax form, we don't pay tax.
So remind us again what the difference is between the partial and the full.
Yeah. Mind if I come over real quick?
Yeah.
So the partial coverage is essentially just quarterly preventative maintenance as per manufacturer recommendations for all the equipment. And so like Todd mentioned, here at the courthouse, it's 13 different like split type systems, just like your house, but then it does have a hydronic system that also functions with these systems. All these systems are 17 years old, so they were put in 2008. And so we recommend either doing the partial or the full coverage, trying to get some life out of these. Typically, the life expectancy for equipment like this is 15 years. They're in good condition, and so we think we can get to 20, or past that if we start doing some professional maintenance on them. But the difference between the two, preventative maintenance only, like I said, is just the maintenance that the manufacturer recommends on a quarterly basis. Yeah, those tasks kind of go through what that is. Filters are included as part of that. Includes all the mileage and labor and materials to do the maintenance on a quarterly basis. The full coverage just takes it a step further. And if you look, I don't know if this is one of the full coverage, but the terms 32 through 35, right, I guess a little further up. I'm sorry. If this is one of the full coverages, a little further up.
You go after the.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Right there. Okay, so this is one of those. So 33 through 35 explains the full coverage. Full coverage is something we've done. This is our 31st year of business. We do full coverage with the hospital in town and the school district in town. Essentially, it's a insurance policy. And so just like any insurance policy, there are things that aren't covered. But generally, it just, to simplify terms 33 to 35, it's essentially everything's covered. So throughout the year, service calls, parts, labor, mileage, trip charges, compressors, motors, of course, the filters and belts are part of the maintenance plan, but just emergency calls as they arise on them are all a part of this, and you just pay the quarterly premium and that's it. Obviously, we can dive into the things that aren't covered,
Acts of God.
things like that. The insurance, may cover for the building, if lightning strikes the unit or something, that's something that wouldn't be covered. Squirrel gets in there and chews up a wire or stuff like that. And then there are a few structurally, like the panels on the unit, cause some kind of damage or something like that. It's essentially anything we can maintain, we'll cover. So we can maintain a compressor, right? We can do electrical, maintenance and keep the compressor functioning. So we're going to cover a compressor. Blower motor, again, we can maintain those components, so we'll cover them. You'll never get a charge outside of the full coverage that you don't know about prior, right? So how that would work is if we did have a service call up here, not cooling the building, and we come up here and then we say, hey, Todd, this unit, whatever, somebody ran over and hit it or something, right? Then that's when we say, hey, pause. Todd, here's a quote on top of this to actually replace the unit or do whatever we need to do. So it's kind of a full encompassing program. That's for this building. And then same two options for the annex building. The annex building, like Todd said, it's not something, we have an A license. And so we can do any type of climate or process cooling and heating. And so chillers, boilers, things like that. I don't know if there's anybody else that can do that in the area, but typically those are things that you need to have factory certifications and just some experience behind you. We're happy to provide. I think we did last time provide some references or anything like that if we need to, but kind of just want to give options to the court and see kind of where you wanted to go on that. I think both of the facilities are in good condition, but I think it could certainly help extend the life. That's really from a financial aspect. I think we can benefit the county by extending the life of the equipment. Majority of cost of mechanical equipment is the cost to replace it, right? As you guys just heard, the boiler has, even like the equipment here, there's only 13 systems here, but that would be an estimated, $150,000+ of replacing all this equipment. So if we can kick that can down the road by investing a lot smaller amount here and doing some maintenance and trying to extend the life, I think that's going to be, not to mention maybe energy efficiency, emergency downtime, moving people around, things like that.
Court, my name is Mason Garza. I take care of the account with Todd. I work real close with Todd on the average daily weekly basis. Along the way, as things get signed, I do work with Todd on forecasting budgets on the HVAC side to say, okay, this is where we need to be at for this quarter, this budget, to know that these units are being replaced out at budgeted cost, so that we're not getting hit at $150,000 cost all at once. So
that's kind of the partnership that we provide you that.
Yeah, so you did answer one of my questions.
Sorry. Yeah.
What was the cost to replace if we had to replace it? So you said 150,000.
I think that would be pretty good estimate. There's things like refrigerants are changing, right? Regulations and all that kind of stuff's up in the air with new administration involved. So there's some details in that, but I think that's probably a good estimate. So
okay, and we are past the typical life expectancy of those at this point.
At this point with the building, at the annex, that chiller is not as, I think it's 12 years old.
Yeah, I think about 12, 14 years old.
I can't remember.
We still got some life in it, but
here it's all past.
The job is to extend it. Along through the extension is work with Todd to slowly replace them at a budgeted cost.
Okay. And you would let him know when those are coming up?
Yes, sir.
Do y'all have any questions for this gentleman?
Well, I don't know why you would,
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know why you do a partial when a lot of that stuff is covered in the full, other than replacement and lightning and scrolls and everything else, but that's just my opinion. Because they're all getting old.
For both of the full service, it's $32,780. And like we said, we budgeted an additional $45,000 this year, anticipating the possibility that we may go this direction last year. Or this year.
The full covers their service calls, some of the parts, other than replacement, the way I understand it. So, like I said, I don't know why you wouldn't do the full coverage proposal for both buildings. Because apparently they're willing to do it, so.
Are you making a motion now?
Yep.
Is there a second?
That's for both buildings.
Okay. All in favor of going with Carrie's proposal, full proposal for both courthouse and annex? Okay. I will get, go ahead.
Mind if we update the dates and everything?
Yeah, if you'll reset your dates.
What would you like the start date to be?
What's the soonest date you can put on it?
Like March 1st, maybe?
Okay.
Started there.
Okay. Sounds
Do
good.
that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And y'all don't have to stay for the rest of the
Okay.
or you can if you want. Okay, go to purchase and possible renovation of building 3400 College Avenue. We have a lot of people here who I believe have some input on that, so we'll go ahead and take input from folks that are here for that. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Summers.
I have a few questions. First off, who initially approached the court about purchasing this building?
This was a conversation between the tax assessor and I. Over the last several years, we've discussed the possibility of the tax office being in a different location.
Another question is, there's a list of issues with the building. Is asbestos in that issue anywhere?
No, ma'am.
If you purchase it, have you set aside a dollar amount for remodeling?
That is something that we're going to be discussing here in a few minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you purchase it, there's been approximately $57,000 spent to remodel the current tax assessor's office. If you move the new voters registration department to the current tax assessor's office, has a dollar amount been set aside to remodel that again?
There won't need to be any remodeling. And so the amount that you are talking about, part of that was during COVID. We did some work then to following guidance from everybody, everything that was coming out at the time early on. So part of those funds were then. Part of the last renovation was actually redoing inside, and a lot of that remodeling was done in-house by Orange Crew to remove the way it was set up. The remainder of that is split between flooring and furniture and the
electrical.
and the
stuff,
electrical.
And then,
Yeah,
because they had to redo all the electrical.
right. And let me finish, Ms. Summers. So actual cost to do the remodel was less than 20,000, I believe, or right around 20,000 for the actual office, the flooring and the electrical and whatnot. So nothing would need to
Total, it
be,
was 32,638.
right, but how much of that was furniture?
12 or 13,000 of it.
Okay, so,
Which
that-
would be, it would go,
right, so all the furniture would go with you to the office. So
the furniture and cabinets and all that stuff.
right. So the elections administrative office would be able to move right in there and not make any changes to, there would not be any remodel. And so what we're looking at for the elections administrator was they would move in there to use that office. That would be open 24/7, not 24/7, I'm sorry, 5 days a week throughout the year. So it's not going to be just used for elections. The elections administrator would be in that office and it'd be open on a regular basis. Let me finish, Ms. Summers. Once elections come around, the elections would be done inside that office. So they would line the walls with machines. They put 4 machines in the middle. So people would be able to go into that office to do the voting instead of going somewhere else to do voting. The first discussions we had when we created the elections administration office was to put that over at the Armory. And the way that is, it wouldn't be in the front door, it'd be in a side door at the back, which can be difficult to find if you don't know what you're looking for. So the thought was to move the elections administrator office, leave the elections administrator office in this building downstairs, easy access for anybody that wants to vote or anybody that wants to register, anything like that, instead of having to come up to this office or go to the armory to do their voting. So long answer to your question, I apologize for that, is that no, there wouldn't be any additional money spent on any type of renovation for the elections administrator office. It's move-in ready. You had another question?
Yes. Where would the access be for people to go into that office?
The two doors there, that are there currently, they would be able to go in those doors. They might, I don't know, I hadn't discussed whether she'd have both doors open or just one door open, but those doors right there. Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna speak up against spending the money.
Okay.
We have other things we need to spend the money on, like our roads, like senior center. I mean, I'm not as prepared as she is, but I just wanted to voice my opinion. I think it's way too much money, and we need to spend it someplace else. And y'all are spending way too much money on stuff that we don't need. Get the stuff that we do need and take care of business instead of looking for something else to buy. Oh, well, let's go over here, but yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's go buy that. We got the money, let's spend it. My name's Sue Stroud, in case you want to know.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Stroud, we're not looking for things to just go out and do and buy and things like that. We're trying to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars. And so with that, each department is budgeted each year, and we go through a whole budget process for each department. So the roads, they are budgeted. The senior center is budgeted. All of our departments, we do have budgets for those. And like I said, we go through the process each year for those. And I know there's thoughts on where this money's coming from. So during the budget process 2 years ago, yes,
How
ma'am.
much is our taxes going to go up because of this spending? I mean, we went way up this time.
Okay, the money that's going to be used for this is not taxpayer dollars. It is comes from the pilot payments on those. So we have done tax abatements on wind and solar and batteries in the past. And those payments will increase to over $2 million in the next couple of years, over the next 10 years. We keep that separate from tax so that we can do projects and do things and do infrastructure that needs to be done. Because if you don't maintain what you have, it will fall apart.
Right, so
Right.
you don't spend money on something else. Take care of what we got first and then go do.
Sure,
The
and
extra
we need to
stuff.
maintain it all. And as far as the roads, they have budgets for the roads. And you'd have to talk to your commissioner about a road if there's an issue with that road.
All the roads that the windmill people brought in, all those windmills, they come right by our house, down our road, down Roadrunner Path, down Round Top. The roads are ruined.
Okay, and I
And
think
they're not
Commissioner
fixed.
McCowan is working on
I've
that.
talked to him.
Okay, I think he's talking to those companies too.
Yes, we
They
have,
have really messed up on a lot of people's properties, and they're not taking care of business.
Now, I've been here a couple of years ago asking to widen Block Line Road. I was told, I don't remember who, that it was going to be widened. They have gone down there and put some
Oh, it's
kind of
awful.
rock
Okay.
crap.
We,
It's
all
awful.
right, that's a completely different subject.
But you're saying that some of this money is gonna be towards block, or to the road.
No, ma'am, I'm saying they have a budget that is used. I'm not saying that money is gonna go towards roads. I'm saying that there is a
How
budget for those.
Okay, sorry.
What I think we are saying, and I don't know, Ms. Stroud, but this money that y'all are wasting to try to buy this building that we don't need to buy can be used, allocated other places.
Okay.
Put some of that money towards the roads. I was told Block Line would be widened. That's been 2 or 3 years ago. It hadn't been widened.
yes, ma'am, it is. Yes, it is.
That little
Yeah.
junk that y'all put on the side of the road,
We
in a year, it's washed off.
did widen it, and we done it properly. All 4 precincts of us.
Ms. Summers?
Okay, I have an issue with these pilot payments, with you saying that is not taxpayer money. Pilot stands for payments in lieu of taxes.
Correct.
So you're getting money from these entities that you've given tax abatements to that take away property taxes from us. So therefore, these pilot payments are our dollars, and you need to be careful what you spend it on. We do not need to purchase another building for the tax assessor's office.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
On the budgets, you say we've got these budgets allocated. If you don't spend the entire budget, the next time you make a budget, does your budgeting decrease? Do you feel like you have to spend the entire budget?
We don't.
Do you always spend the entire budget?
No, sir, we don't.
Okay.
Where does that money go that y'all budgeted?
It goes back to the reserve funds for the individual, like, Road and Bridge has their own road, reserve. Once it's allocated to precinct 5, Fund 15, which is Road and Bridge, it cannot go back to general fund. So it goes to the Road and Bridge reserve. And then any of the other ones go back to the general fund reserve, other than special funds that are created by fee funds by state statute.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank y'all. I've never done this before, because I trust y'all to take care of our tax dollars. That's what y'all are paid to do. But I do disagree with what you're fixing to do about this building. And I understand that it may not be qualifying tax dollars that's gonna purchase this building, but where does the money come from to upkeep it, air condition it, cool it? I've been doing business in this courthouse for 54 years in that tax office, or the tax collector's office. And I voted for 52 years. And I've never had a problem getting my vote made or handing them my money for my properties. I have multiple properties in Scurry County. And I personally just don't feel like in our environment today, and if you're banking on these windmills, I would be looking at that very seriously. If you watch any news, our president's pretty much done with it, and they are federally funded. And if that funding stops, those windmills are gonna quit operating, and they'll never pay out. I worked for Occidental Petroleum for a number of years, and we were gonna build our own windmills over in Midland. We bought the Curtis Ranch over there to fuel our wells for electricity, and we did an intense study on it. And the cost of this would have been private. It wasn't going to be federally funded. And we come to the conclusion, for what we paid as a big buyer of kilowatts from TXU or whoever the provider is, that it was not going to be feasible to put these windmills up. It would never pay itself out. So they're not a good deal. And here's another thing about the windmills. And I know that's not this meeting, but like I'm facing them and done. They bumped right up to me, but I didn't sign up for them, so I don't have them on my property. But I don't even go out in my front yard at night anymore because they're ugly, very ugly. And
They're noisy.
yes, ma'am, they are noisy. But I'm going to get my properties evaluated next year. And I'm assuming a lot of these people that have concerns around me are going to do the same. So, when I have to go back before the appraisal district, then I'm going to be looking to devalue my property. And there's some people that's already sold property. Here's one sitting beside me that probably took a pretty good beating and he's leaving. He's moving back to town because of these windmills.
2 more people that we know of are moving back to town.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm not done.
I'm sorry.
But that's why I'm against it. I mean, I just don't, like me, I have some rental properties, and I have to spend a lot of time shopping insurance today. And I'm trying to keep my renters from having to pay me more money because they're hurting just like everybody else is going down to the grocery store and buying steak for $24. I just don't think our environment justifies any expenditures that we're gonna be living with. I won't be. Probably most of y'all won't be. But my kids and my grandkids are gonna be stuck with these properties at some point in time. And eventually taxes are going up, and we don't have an increase in population in this county and haven't had for the last 15 years. There's no justification. What we have works. Take the doors and open them back up and fix it where we could go in there and work right across the desk with the ladies and gentlemen that work the tax collector's office. And we're not in COVID anymore, by the way. You know, all the measures that were made in this courthouse for that, it costs money, like the security and all that. I mean, I don't know, for, I guess maybe 45 years, did we ever have an incident in this courthouse from anybody terrorizing it or pulling a gun on a judge? Or
It's easy to say it's never happened before, but it's happening throughout the state and throughout the United States.
But I'm not debating that. That's y'all's call. I'm not judging what y'all do and how you run your business. That's what you're paid to do. But I'm totally against this. I don't see any justification. And maybe there is. Maybe y'all can speak to it and justify this, other than having an electoral office that we don't need. We haven't had to have it for years. Why are we going? We're going the wrong direction, in my point of view. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your input.
Amen.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Charles Brummett, longtime resident. The last time I was here, there was building the Coliseum. I learned how to score a dance at the Bell Opry House when it used to be a church. Been here this time, 10 years. I've seen a lot of changes in some of it's good for the public, some of it's not so good. But my question is, has a traffic study been done? Now, the reason I'm asking this, because at the courthouse, there's what is called a DOT funnel. It's a controlled area in between two stop signs. Therefore, the amount of speed that would cause a significant accident would be dramatically reduced, keeping it here, compared to the 3400 block and a 35-mile-an-hour speed.
Okay, no, sir, a traffic study for this has not been done.
Now, you have approximately 40 parking spaces around here. That building only has 12 with no ADA compliance parking. So we might want to think of a study if we're going to take the next jump.
Thank you for your input.
I would just like to say I'm against it. As a taxpayer, very much so. I think this money could be divided into other entities such as our roads.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any input? Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Bruce.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if you've taken a survey of the taxpayers, but this is not a good idea. I mean, and I haven't talked to anybody that says we need to do this. So anyway, I'm telling you that your constituents are against this.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you.
I just want to address the court again. Thank y'all for allowing us to be here. As a entrepreneur, I've driven by that property over the last month and shared with my wife, like I really wish I had a vision for it because it is a great piece of property. So I see where you're going with that. Although I don't know if Ms. Young needs a new office or not, I'm not going to address that. That's none of my business. I trust that y'all as a court can make that decision and would make a wise decision in that. My recommendation is if we do displace that, let's not take a very attractive piece of real estate off of our main thoroughfare in Snyder that a franchise per se could come to, you know, I know we don't need another restaurant probably, but you know what I mean, your traffic, your foot traffic through there. my suggestion would be to use a tax-owned entity as far as the armory or putting a drive-through is what I've heard some of the thing, the health department, man, make a concrete drive-through with a window out there where folks that can't get out, wheelchair bound and whatnot, that it would be a lot more accessible. You're talking about a very cheap, addition to that. We're about to utilize that, building a new facility for the health department and EMS.
It's just EMS right now.
Oh,
We're just building
okay.
new EMS right now. Health department isn't.
Is it moving over?
Right.
Okay.
It's not right now, no.
So I would just consider any county-owned facilities to utilize that and not a prime piece of real estate in our city. So from a taxpayer standpoint, I just can't imagine we would want to take that off of the tax roll.
Okay.
So-
Is this one of the issues to have a drive-through? Is that one of the?
That's one of the things we're discussing is, that has been discussed is.
We got a lot, we have a lot of equipment. Let's just tear that, gazebo down that's paint chipped sitting out there, pretty ugly looking, and just tear it, make a drive-through there and set one of those things like the bank has, a little bigger one, because you're gonna have to get license plates to it.
Yes, sir.
Utilize what we have. This don't need to happen.
Okay. Cody, I want to disagree with you on one point you made. We don't need more restaurants. I think we could use more restaurants.
We need people paying taxes.
Absolutely.
We need people paying taxes in these properties, not more county.
You said the health department isn't going to move at this time.
Correct.
Is that something that y'all are looking forward to in the future?
I don't know. At this point, I don't know. When we were looking at that, we were looking at using the, what were those? It wasn't CARES Act. The federal funds that we got to build both EMS and health department. ARPA funds. Those funds weren't there to build both, and we're having to supplement funds for the EMS building with the pilot payment.
Okay, then what will y'all do with the health department building?
It's still there. They're still utilizing it.
Okay, but I'm saying if they moved, would that be a place for more offices or?
Potentially, or it could be sold. I don't, those discussions haven't been made yet.
If you mentioned the voter registration stuff in the armory, if it is in a back corner, hard to find, you're literally talking about signage.
Sure.
Proper signage, pretty simple to follow, a handful of signs
Thank you, Coach.
to that.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. Has an EPA study been done on the land to see if the fuel tanks has been moved or the dirt has been?
Yes, sir, that has been taken care of. Yes, sir.
I had a phone, talked to Mr. McCown last week about all this. I'm pleased, I come away pleased with our conversation about you're trying to work with the windmills and all, and, your opinion on this building. We just can't see it.
Okay.
It's not visible.
All right, thank you. Anybody else want to have any input? I appreciate everybody speaking up and telling us how you feel about that. I'm going to go ahead and go on to this. We'll discuss what the potential expenses are on it. So put this together. I feel like I should give you all the full description on this. So the building price is $520,000. They're not going to come down on that at all. They said that's it. They're not going to do anything else to it. The termite treatment will cost $1,330. There was termite damage. To repair that's anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. The electrical that was in the inspection, that's a minor fix. They would pull, it's double lug. They would move the double lug to a different location. There's room to do that. Structural and engineer report. This would be a slab inspection. Because the inspection report showed that there's potential damage to the slab, might be a good idea to get a structural engineer report. This list does not include if the slab is damaged, what that cost would be. Report repair to the front door, it's real hard to pull open. It would need to be adjusted, I'm assuming about $500. We received a quote to install a wall across the front, and a drive-up window and a doorway, from the other room. It's $12,800. To get 4 ticket windows, in there would be about $12,000. A transaction window station is about $9,200. Talking with Jenna, we discussed changing that from 4 ticket windows to just front on top of a countertop. And I don't think it would be, I think it would be actually less than the 4 ticket windows to do that. Paint the interior, possibly up to $2,500, or just the cost of materials if we use orange-proof, which would be the ideal situation. Same thing with the exterior. And then to put a sign up on the building would be about $3,500. The gas was turned on for an inspection, I don't know if you remember that the gas was not on prior to, that was checked. The air conditioning and heat units had some wires backwards. They fixed those, and that is working as it should. So all told, if we purchase that building and do all of the work to it, it would be $574,160.
Sir, I didn't see anything about sewer. Was the sewer?
That's good.
Okay. Yes, sir. And also, I didn't see here, I know this is just your upfront cost, but what do y'all anticipate the monthly cost to cool it, heat it, water?
And that is something that we would have to further investigate what those costs.
Yeah, because I'm sure they're like most of the businesses that I ran, they leave their air conditioner on 24/7. You mentioned that 24/7, 365.
Yes, sir. Ms. Stroud, did you have a comment?
So I thought it was move-in ready. That's a lot of money to be.
No, I said the elections administrator office downstairs is move-in ready.
I see.
Okay.
Sorry.
Any discussion on this?
Well, I've talked to several of these people here personally. I've got numerous phone calls, people that's not here, emails, text messages. And I talked to someone that wants it, or really have it. And, what's the yearly taxes on that building? 9,000-10,000 for individual to own their company. It takes that off tax roll. And like I said, I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kind of like Sean said, I've talked to several of these people and several other people, and I haven't found anybody that's for it. And then you look at the list of damages, it's just, and you know it's gonna be beyond that. Once you get in there and start it, it always starts nickel and diming, and I'm against it.
I've had numerous phone calls, emails, texts, and I know none of my constituents are for it.
Okay.
And I feel like that slab's broke.
Yeah.
Might have fixed. We already have one building that's already like that.
Mhm.
And I'm like Cody, is taking off tax roll. So I'm personally not for it.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Thank you.
And the more I've thought about this and talked to people about this, I'm in the same position. I would love for the tax office to have a location where it's more ease of access for people, and get them where they have some space to do the things they need to do. But one of the main things for me has been taking this property off the tax roll. It's a prime location. And the expense of it is quite a bit higher than I was anticipating as well. When we started this, we talked about trying to get it for less. This is quite a bit more than what it's on the tax rolls for. So if the community's not behind it, I'm not behind it either. And
Save
that's where I am.
our money. We may need it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
Has the county looked at property of valued size that would not take out $100,000 a year in tax property? Example, on the end of College, is it College? Yeah, College was an office building that's been built years ago, and it's non-occupied.
We've been looking for several years at different properties on this, so, this wasn't a new idea, it's something that we've discussed for
And it
several
has the
years.
same amount of parking as the old service station there on College, as far as parking spots.
Thank you.
Judge, I have a motion.
Okay.
Make a motion that we do not purchase the property on 3400 College Avenue.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Thank you, everybody, for your input on this.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, Cody, I want a couple of new barns, but I don't need them.
Go ahead.
My number was your.
Good to see you, Jim.
Say y'all.
Go on to bids for flexible road base. We need to set a date to accept bids for flexible road base.
We did some little investigating on this, and the only time we really went over $50,000 our limit was when we were doing the state grant. And since we don't have a grant, if we don't have, this could limit us to using their little bottom of pot deals, so I don't believe we need to go out for bids for flexible base.
Good with that?
Pretty much.
All right, no action then. All right, Girls Softball Association and others regarding signage and income from Moffett and Casefield. How are y'all doing?
We're good.
Tell us what's going on with this. What's happening?
Jerry and I have been associated with the softball complex for over 20-some odd years. Certainly coaching, umpiring, all the stuff, but we have took care of the billboard signs for over 20 years. And we have a surplus of, this statement says 31, but I put in a deposit of 3,100 in January, so 34,000 in the account. Of course, we spent a lot of money down there over the years of keeping everything updated and whatever the field complex needed. We are at the end of our roads of doing this. I'm 71 years old, and climbing up and down a ladder is getting where it's kind of tough on me. Like right now, I got a little bit of vertigo going on, so if I fall even one or the other, just don't pay no attention to me. But we're wanting to give it up, and we have two businessmen in Scurry County that are very willing to take it over, Justin Pekacic and Nathan Smith. And I think these two men will accomplish everything that we've done and probably more and better, because they are businessmen, and they both are on the board at the softball field and probably numerous boards all through the county. I don't know, but they're good men, that's all I know. And we want to turn it over to them.
Okay.
And we're willing to do that.
What I remember, and it's been a long time ago, it's been, I think, more than 20, I think it'd be probably closer to 30. But I know, I thought we signed something, but we don't have a clue. We can't remember. But the deal with the billboards, just to refresh your memory, is we were allowed to go out and shop those billboards out for annual payments. And then we would, but that money had to be used 100% for maintaining and upgrading the softball fields. It could not be used for any other purpose. And so that's what we've done. And Russell's done most of it, because I've been in and out of Snyder and stuff. So he's done most of it. And these two gentlemen have agreed to take on that responsibility. And so talking with Mike Hartman, he suggested we get on the agenda so that it would be recorded. So at least there was some formal action that we're handing it over and who it's being handed to.
Okay.
So I guess the only thing we would have left to do is change the signature cards at the bank.
Okay. All right. Do you mind if I ask who?
I'm a little hard of hearing, so please speak up.
Can you tell us who it would be taking over for you?
Yeah, Justin Pekacic
Okay.
and Nathan Smith.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I agree with you. They're both prominent businessmen here. So I personally don't have an issue with that.
So all you can spend on is the ball fields, is that what you said?
Everything that's associated with the ball fields, which could be lights, it could be scoreboards, it could be the paving around it. We put the fences up, we put the nets up, we put the press boxes up. The county helped us back then with Sheriff Collier, and put the covers over the stands. and things like that. That's what it should be used for, is to maintain and improve. I think right now Russell's working to put some of these permanent pitching rubbers and permanent batters boxes, so it reduces the amount of maintenance that has to be done, on a nightly, weekly basis.
And I think the school is spearheading that.
Okay,
Mr. Fritz, I think.
yeah, Ryan,
Ryan, that's
Okay.
him, yes. He hasn't talked to me personally, but I know him.
okay.
I know they've talked to you about replacing the foul ball netting,
Yes, yeah,
and that's a pretty big chunk. And I think there'll be plus 34,000 in this by the time it's all recouped.
I have $1,000 in the deposit book right now, and I have 16 more that hasn't paid, so that's gonna be 2,700 more dollars added to the 34,000, less the 2,000 for the pitching rubbers and home plate stuff that we talked about just now. But
okay.
it'll be pretty close to probably 38, maybe.
And I think it's been, done diligently. Russell's estimation is we probably spent somewhere around $120,000 on the fields since this was in conception.
Okay, now, and I've always known it's there, and I've known that you were part of that, and I know someone else was doing that before you were. But I really never knew what was done. In the future, do you think Mr. Prokopchik and Mr. Smith would be willing to give us an update on what they've done each year with their
Whether
funds?
they just save the money or what they spend.
Yeah, just kind of let us know, hey, we did this for the fields this year. That way we know, and then the community can know where those funds are going and what y'all are doing.
If I knew I had to do that, well, I would have done it.
Yeah, I know you would have, and I just never thought to reach out to you on that.
I just saw a need and took care of it.
I'd heard that it was you, but I didn't know for sure that you were the one taking care of that, and I never reached out.
So Jerry stated a while ago that all the funds were made to go to the improvement on the
Right.
softball fields. Over the years of dealing with different sign companies, I've had to go out of town. Flow Light in Big Spring was the main one. So I had travel expenses, and I did enough work hanging and taking them down. I didn't want to, just take it out of my pocket too. This money's going back and forth. So I have expenditure for fuel, stamps, ink cartridges, and
Sure.
I'm not gonna talk about my wife's time because I don't want her to get involved in all this, but just stuff like that
Sure. Okay,
was taken out for that only.
okay.
Other than that, everything else is on the complex.
Well, I don't,
Do you want to set it up on an annual basis for y'all to set it up, or do you want them to do it and come to you? In other words, I know you
Yeah.
could, if you wanted to.
if we just make I'll reach out to them and see if they'll make an arrangement with us to come once a year.
Sure.
We'll just set a certain time of the year that they come and talk to us about what they're doing.
Okay.
Melanie, do you need to see this? I wish you would look at it.
I can make a copy and put it in,
Yeah.
just put it in the minutes
Right.
as
Yeah.
part of this discussion.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That's a December statement. It's not January's.
Okay,
That's the last one I got from them, but I'll probably get one in the mail a couple of days.
okay. Since we have some more agenda to do you want to give me a minute to go make a copy or?
Sure, go ahead, and I'm gonna ask.
That way you can back.
Question of someone.
Dan,
Yes, ma'am.
are y'all expecting the electrical contractor for the meeting?
Yeah.
He's in my office.
Yeah.
Okay, he's in my office, so
Yes,
it's
fine.
pretty big for my.
I just talked to him.
Yeah, we've got a EMS meeting here in about 4
Oh,
minutes,
okay.
Thank you.
or when we finish here.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, I just, that's myself.
So, what I'm gonna say,
Yes, sir.
Russell and Jerry, Russell has spent how many years of softball?
Yeah.
My oldest girl's 50 and she played ball when she was little there, but I was just a coach, but after that I was a head umpire.
I was coaching in early and mid '90s, and you were coaching then too. So
Probably the mid to late 80s. Started down
Thank
there.
you.
My point to that is,
where else?
my point to that is, I talked to Matt, after the pipeline meeting yesterday, and he basically said what Russell and Jerry said. He has to work with whoever does it,
Right.
and, he's good with it.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we allow, Russell and Jerry to come on with signature cards and allow, I don't know that we need this vote, but just for posterity.
Does that need to be on the agenda that way? The signature card?
No, and others regarding frontage and income, I don't think so. Talking to Mike, well,
Why don't we be sure
yeah,
at our next meeting,
okay.
put it on the agenda, and we can hopefully.
We'll verify where we need to vote on that. And if not, but I mean, y'all are changing anyway, y'all are leaving,
So
so,
we what? They're volunteers,
yeah. So,
but anyway, we might get, the other two guys here, if they have enough heads up, also, that's one thing for us.
You know, our payment over it is watching the girls softball become more and more successful over the years. And that's attributed to how the high school team performs. They get their coaching coming up through the ranks. That's been our pleasure in what we've done.
Mine as well.
okay. And Mike said we can vote to accept the change of leadership.
Okay, well.
So I'll make the motion that we accept that change. And it'll be, you got the names of the. All in favor? Thank you, guys. Appreciate everything you've done over the years. Russell.
Yes, sir. Wait a minute. Yes, sir.
Vertigo,
Yes, sir.
ethnic maneuver.
I'm gonna go see the doctor today.
That's what he told me.
He told me literally I have some, literally I've lost my balance.
I've had it a few times, that helped. And Mike said, we don't have any control over the account and we don't want it.
Yeah, right.
All right, were you about to ask? Okay, investment policy, do we have any?
I don't think there's any changes. I know in the legislative, the session, they're talking about our pools,
Right.
which we heavily invest in, so in the future, next year, we might have to make sure we're meeting what the new guidelines are gonna be, and if we're within those timeframes.
Yeah, if they change it.
I don't think this year we need to do anything different.
Any discussion on the investment policy?
Not for me.
Does need to be adopted.
Yes, and approved, because we have to do that annually.
I have a motion to adopt the investment policy.
Second.
All in favor? All right, certified revenues. We have
There's only one.
$1,764.34.
Yes, this was a repayment for, I don't remember which one it was, one of the party chairs, I think the Democrat Party, is that right, Melody?
Yes,
So it's
well,
just,
both Republican and Democrat, that's
for both of them?
that's
Okay.
combined for both of
So the
them.
party chairs back into revenue, miscellaneous revenue, but there will be a budget amendment to place it into 405-4840 election expense.
Make a motion to accept certified revenue as presented.
All in favor? Line item transfers and budget amendments.
Okay, there's only one of each of these. One on transfer is for the Parks Department into capital outlay, $31,127.19 out of contract labor, and park maintenance repair miscellaneous for the concession stands.
Go look at them. They are completely redone. Sorry.
I have one more. I have the budget amendment. Budget amendment is the one that we just certified for the election admin for the election expense, so $1,764.34, placing that into the expense line.
Make a motion to accept line item transfers and budget. The certified revenue and line item transfers as presented.
Budget
And
amendment.
budget amendments as presented.
We already did, sir.
You second.
Okay.
Sure. All in favor? Payable, and I do need to update on that on on here because you sent it this morning.
Amy sent it this
Amy
morning,
sent
but-
it this morning, so I need to change it on here,
Yes,
but yeah.
yes, because there was some, additional ones from yesterday.
Okay.
So 1,874,432.19.
Make motion to pay the bills.
All in favor? And we are not going into executive session today. We will adjourn. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time. Appreciate everybody that came today. Jan, after my meeting, I'll come down.
Okay.
Sarah, how are you?
Good, yeah.
Good.